Grace posted a photo of her family of 3 on a picnic in the parents' group chat, and immediately, Tiffany verbally attacked her relentlessly. She then posted intimate photos of Marcus, sarcastically sneering, "You can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. How dare a broke loser like you impersonate me?" Grace was furious, practically beside herself. She kicked Marcus, who was sound asleep, right off the bed and demanded coldly, "Are you seeing someone else behind my back?" This was just the beginning. Grace swore she wouldn't let any of them get away with it. Ms. Evans tagged everyone in the parents' group chat, asking them to share what their children did over the weekend. Grace casually sent the photo of her family of 3 on a picnic to the group, then went about her other business. When she came back, she found the parents' group chat had exploded. "Mr. Johnson, I've truly seen it all. Stealing someone else's husband. This is a parents' group chat. Don't you care about your child standing in preschool later? Mrs. Wilson, Luna's mom, we hope you can explain this." People kept tagging Grace, and even Ms. Evans from Kindergarten A messaged her directly, demanding an explanation. There were hundreds, if not thousands, of messages, more than Grace could ever scroll through. Grace was completely bewildered, so she asked the question on her mind. "What exactly is going on? What do you want me to explain?" Right after Grace sent that message, the account named Leo's mom immediately jumped in. "Oh, still pretending, are we? Weren't you quite pleased with yourself when you posted that photo? What, did you think no one in the group would recognize Marcus, the financial titan? Get a little confidence and you are arrogant, cross me and you are asking for trouble. How dare you impersonate me? I can ruin you in this city with a single word, believe it or not." It was quite sudden. Grace just casually posted a family photo, and she never expected it to be used to expose the truth. Since his mom knew who Marcus was, and still dared to try to frame her, Grace couldn't tell if she was playing dumb or genuinely stupid. Grace couldn't help but reply, "At Leo's mom, is there a possibility that Marcus is actually my husband?" At that, she became even more enraged and humiliated, immediately sending dozens of intimate photos of her and Marcus. There were even some taken in bed. Before could react, Leo's mom started mocking her directly. "Marcus and I have a rock-solid love, it's not something just anyone can try to frame. Someone like you, acting out of vanity, editing someone else's husband into your own photos, do you realize you are infringing on Marcus' image rights? I can sue you." Everyone in the group was indignant, joining Leo's mom in criticizing Grace. Luna's mom, "I don't know what kind of mindset leads you to do something like this. Is your child's biological father so unpresentable that you would resort to such clumsy methods to fake it? We've never seen the father when picking up the child before. Maybe she doesn't even know who the father is herself. She probably wanted to show off, but ended up doing it right in front of the rightful person. If it were me, I'd disappear from the face of the earth. It's mortifying. With a mother like that, the child will probably follow suit. I'm afraid my child will pick up bad habits from a classmate like that. Ms. Evans, I don't want my child to be classmates with a student like that." Other parents followed suit, demanding that Luna be expelled. "Next, I expect the principal and teachers to give us a satisfactory answer." Grace just scoffed in amusement. She never imagined a simple family photo could stir up such a huge controversy. Grace directly tagged Leo's mom, "You claim to be Mr. Vance's wife, but do you have any proof?" "Because I do." Grace immediately pulled out their marriage certificate. To her surprise, she didn't panic at all. Instead, she just snapped a photo of Marcus' sleeping profile. "Well, you came prepared, even faking a marriage certificate. But a fake is a fake, it'll never be real." Grace zoomed in on the photo and carefully scrutinized it. It was indeed Marcus, no doubt about it. Could it be that he was seeing someone else behind her back? And even had a child? If that were the case, Grace wouldn't mind raising her as a single mother. What's wrong? Speechless now. Didn't you claim to be Mr. Vance's wife? All you've sent is one photo and a fake marriage certificate. Mr. Vance should be home now, right? Why don't you take a picture and show us? We'll see who the fake one truly is. Everyone in the group was joining in to ridicule Grace. Though annoyed, Grace still explained, he's away on a business trip recently, not at home. It was the truth. Marcus had recently flown to the UK to open new markets, and before he left, he asked Luna and Grace what gifts they wanted. Hilarious. Leo's mom just posted a photo, and you are claiming Mr. Vance is on a business trip. That's just laughable. Is it that she doesn't want to take a picture? Or that she can't even get one? At Luna's mom, aren't you good at edited photos? Why didn't you prepare more in advance? Now that the rightful person has exposed the truth on the spot, this is too humiliating. If I were you, I'd be too embarrassed to stay in this group chat. Someone who would edit photos to steal a husband, how could they not be shameless? Everyone, please be understanding. At Ms. Evans, I just demand that Luna be expelled as soon as possible. With a mother like that, the child will also have questionable character. My child absolutely cannot be classmates with someone like that. Grace was seething. This mom really knows how to distort the truth. Grace was about to pull out the evidence to humiliate her when Martha rushed in, looking flustered. Madam, it's terrible. Luna suddenly has a high fever and won't wake up. Hearing that, Grace had no mind to confront her. She immediately put down her phone and rushed to Luna's room. Luna's forehead was burning. Grace picked up Luna immediately and said, "Have Raymond drive us to the hospital right away." After a series of tests at the hospital, the doctor told Grace that it was fortunate they got there in time. A little later, and the fever could have developed into pneumonia. Grace thanked him profusely, but the doctor stood there, seemingly wanting to say more. Grace looked up at him. "Dr. Reed, is there something else you want to tell me?" Dr. Reed hesitated for a moment before speaking. "Initially, I was concerned the child might have been abused by someone in the family. But seeing how worried you are about her, that doesn't seem to be the case." "Doctor, what do you mean by that?" "The child's high fever isn't accidental. She must have been in cold water for too long, which caused the fever. I just examined her carefully, and it appears she's been abused. There are several needle marks on her body, all in very discreet places." "What?" Hearing this, Grace couldn't sit still any longer. She had initially thought Luna's fever was accidental, but after hearing the doctor's words, Grace couldn't remain calm. So, someone had been secretly hurting Luna, but has always been well behaved. Who would be so cruel to her? Besides, she's always been under Grace's watchful eye. Who would dare lay a hand on her? Luna was still unconscious. Grace could only sit quietly by her bedside, watching her face turn red from the fever, her heart aching with guilt. Grace was truly not a good mother. Luna had been abused like this, and Grace hadn't noticed at all. If found out who hurt Luna, she'd never let them get away with it. Luna finally woke up from her slumber the next morning. Grace stroked her pale little face, asking tenderly, "Luna, are you still feeling unwell?" Luna shook her head obediently. Recalling the doctor's words from yesterday, Grace hesitated for a moment, carefully choosing her words, and asked cautiously, "Luna, tell Mommy, has someone been bothering you?" Luna's expression visibly panicked, but she still insisted that no one had. Seeing distraught appearance, Grace knew something was definitely amiss. So she excused herself to buy breakfast, returning 10 minutes later. Luna ate quickly, it seemed she was ravenous. Once she started eating, Grace subtly probed, "Luna, are the teachers at preschool nice to you?" Luna had always been cared for by Grace at home, except for occasional times, when Martha would look after her due to Grace's work. Besides, when Luna was very young, Marcus, worried about his precious little girl, had installed cameras all over the house. If anything truly happened, Grace would have discovered it long ago. The only place where something could have possibly gone wrong was preschool. Hearing mention the teachers, Luna immediately nodded. "Miss Evans is very nice to me. She even braids my hair nicely." It seemed it wasn't the teachers. Grace continued, "Do you have any good friends at preschool? How about we invite your good friends over to our house next time?" At that, Luna's face immediately changed. She lowered her head, looking as if she had done something wrong, appearing flustered and scared. Grace's heart tightened, but she forced herself to keep her composure. "Luna, do you have a little secret you don't want to tell Mommy?" Luna shook her head repeatedly. No, it's not that. Grace held Luna's hand and said softly, if you don't want to talk about it, Mommy won't force you. I just want you to know, Luna, you'll always be Mommy's dearest, most cherished little one. Luna's expression was conflicted. After a long pause, she whispered, but he said if I told Mommy, Mommy would abandon me. Grace's heart clenched. Who on earth was spreading such malicious rumors to Luna? Grace suppressed her anger, gently squeezing Luna's hand. Luna, Mommy will never abandon you. Can you tell Mommy now who hurt you? Seeing's determined gaze, Luna finally told her the secret she had kept buried in her heart. It was Leo. He bullied me, and he used needles to poke my back, and my bottom. Luna hurts so much. As spoke, tears welled up, all the grievances from these past days pouring out at once. And this fever she had. It was also Leo. He used a water fight as an excuse to hold Luna underwater for a long time, almost causing her to develop pneumonia. Grace's heart pounded as she listened, unable to imagine how helpless Luna must have been then. Leo, it's Leo again. First, his mother was spouting nonsense in the group chat, and now her son is bullying Luna so cruelly at preschool. For every single one of these incidents, Grace will make sure she pays for it, twofold. Luna was sick and traumatized. She stayed in the hospital for several days. However, she wasn't comfortable, staying away from home, so with the doctor's permission, Grace completed the discharge procedures early. When was ready to take her home, she unexpectedly found the mansion surrounded by parked cars. For a moment, Grace wondered if she'd come to the wrong house, but seeing the house number confirmed she was in the right place. Just as Grace was about to go in, she heard a mocking voice, well, isn't it the knockoff Mrs. Vance? What, trying to take more photos to edit and fake, being a wealthy madam again? It was one of Luna's classmates' parents. Grace had seen her when dropping off and picking up the kids before, but she was arrogant and never bothered to give anyone the time of day. Grace couldn't be bothered to respond to her. She was about to go inside and see what was happening. To her surprise, she grabbed Grace's arm. No words. Got a guilty conscience, do we? Let me tell you, Marcus Mansion isn't for just anyone to enter. You are not on the guest list today. Get lost, don't make a fool of yourself here. She intentionally raised her voice, and sure enough, all the other parents who were in the yard were drawn over. Isn't that Luna's parent? I recall Mrs. Vance didn't invite her. Look everyone, some people are thicker skinned than a fortress wall. They tried to show off, got exposed by the rightful person, and now they have the audacity to show up at Mrs. Vance's house. Let's call Mrs. Vance out and have her deal with this shameless woman. Soon after, Leo's mom was called over. Amidst the other parents' chatter, she realized Grace was Luna's mom, and immediately began to sneer at her. Well, look who it is. So you are the fake, impersonating me. Your daughter's already been expelled from the class. How dare you bring her to my house? Grace frowned. Who told you Luna was expelled? When suddenly got sick, Grace had already requested a leave of absence from her class teacher. Ms. Evans, please explain why you said our Luna was expelled from the class. Grace turned to look, and Ms. Evans immediately lowered her head, clearly having a guilty conscience. Leo's mom, feigning protectiveness, stood in front of Ms. Evans. Luna's mom, I can understand how you feel right now, but you can't threaten the teacher. After all, you shamelessly impersonated me in the parents' group chat. Simply expelling her from the class was me being lenient. Don't be ungrateful. Grace almost laughed in anger. She'd seen shameless people, but never anyone this shameless. Seeing this, other parents also stepped forward to defend Ms. Evans. Luna's mom, your daughter's expulsion is because of you. You should reflect properly instead of remaining stubborn. Exactly. Mrs. Vance is being generous by not holding it against you. If it were me, I'd drag you to court. Seeing so many people rallying around her, Leo's mom also stepped forward, feigning magnanimity. It's fine, perhaps she was just confused for a moment. Since you are all here, come on in. After all, you won't get this chance again, will you? The other parents continued to fawn over her. Grace couldn't help but retort, Are you sure this is your house? Leo's mom smirked dismissively. If it's not my house, then is it yours? Seeing this, Luna also felt indignant. She immediately stepped forward. This is my house. You bad people, don't bully my mommy. Laughter erupted all around. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Lying at such a young age. Good thing the preschool already expelled her, or I'd genuinely be afraid she'd lead my child astray. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. This child is ruined. Mrs. Vance, why are you still wasting words with them? Just have security throw them out. Everyone chimed in, one after another, as if determined to crucify Grace on a pillar of shame. That little boy, Leo, even pushed Luna hard when Grace wasn't looking. Liar. Get out of my house. Grace had been suppressing her anger, but Luna was her red line. No one was allowed to bully her. Grace grabbed Leo by the collar. So you are the one bullying Luna at preschool, huh? Slap. Slap. Grace immediately slapped him twice, giving no one time to react. Leo was still young, after all, and used to throwing his weight around. Suddenly being slapped twice, he immediately burst into tears from the pain. Seeing hit her son, Leo's mom couldn't stand it. She rushed over, pushed Grace, and fiercely clutched her son to her. Her eyes red, she loudly accused Grace, how could you be so vicious? Just because I exposed your true colors, you take it out on my son. The others all chimed in, one after another, accusing Grace of bullying the defenseless. Grace scoffed. Today, I've truly witnessed what it means for the guilty one to blame others first. Leo has bullied Luna multiple times at preschool, even poking her with needles. This time, it's also because of him that Luna developed a high fever and nearly got pneumonia. Shouldn't a devil like that be hit? Hearing what Grace said, the other parents were all stunned. They probably hadn't expected Leo to be so malicious at such a young age. For a moment, they all fell silent, chilled with fear. Unexpectedly, Ms. Evans was the first to rush forward and refute. Luna's mom, even at this point, you are still lying. What preschool would dare to accept your child in the future? Leo performs exceptionally well at school, while Luna is full of lies. I used to wonder why she was always incorrigible, but seeing you today, I finally understand what teaching by example means. Luna's bad habit of lying is inseparable from you. If you truly care for her, you should apologize to Leo's mom face to face right now, or no one can save you. Everyone around chimed in agreement. I told you so. With Vance's status, and her child being exceptional, how could they possibly bully others? I think you are just enraged and humiliated, deliberately trying to frame me, aren't you? The family is really unlucky, running into such a jinx. Luna clutched Grace's hand fearfully. Mommy, Luna didn't lie. Why are they saying we are lying? Seeing like that, Grace's heart ached terribly. Grace stroked her little head and said gently, a fake will never become real. When looked up, her eyes were cold. Do you know that trespassing is against the law? Hearing that, Leo's mom didn't panic at all. Instead, she calmly retorted, that's what I should be saying, isn't it? This is my house, and you trespassed without permission. I can call the police and have you arrested. Suddenly, she changed her tone. But seeing as you're a woman with a child, I won't press charges. If you are smart, you'll leave quickly. It seemed she was getting anxious, eager to get rid of Grace, but had no intention of letting her have her way. Since you say this is your house, you must be quite familiar with everything inside, right? She nodded proudly. I personally designed this house, of course, I know everything about it. Half a year ago, Mr. Vance bought Monette's impression, Sunrise, at an auction and gave it to Mrs. Vance. Since you claim to be Mrs. Vance, you should know where that painting is hanging now, shouldn't you? Leo's mom was momentarily speechless. Grace deliberately prompted her. I heard Mrs. Vance adores that painting, she's absolutely smitten with it, and wants to see it every morning when she wakes up. That painting is in my and Marcus' bedroom. She immediately blurted out the answer. After saying it, she didn't forget to glance at Grace disdainfully. So you know quite a bit about our family, huh? Looks like you've been doing a lot of snooping. Too bad, I'm the real Mrs. Vance. You can only live out your fantasies in your dreams. She was truly audacious. Since she enjoyed impersonating Grace so much, Grace decided to expose her true colors in front of everyone. Who would believe you based on your word alone? Since you are so determined to dig your own grave, don't blame me for being ruthless. Everyone, follow me. Today, I'll make sure you understand exactly what you are up against. She fully played the part of the hostess, leading the group to the bedroom door. Normally, a bedroom is a very private space, and I wouldn't let outsiders in. But today, well, you all know how it is. After saying that, she cast a contemptuous glance at Grace. Grace said nothing, pointing to the door. Stop stalling. Open it. She scoffed, then turned the doorknob and opened the door. Unfortunately, there was no Monet's impression, sunrise, in the room, but Grace's hand-drawn family portrait. What's going on? Didn't she say Monet's impression, sunrise, was hanging on the wall? This looks like a family portrait. If she really is Mrs. Vance, how could she not even know what's hanging in her own bedroom? Because of a single painting, everyone's suspicions about her identity were raised. Leo's mom's face went pale. She immediately argued, no, that's not it. I put that painting away a while ago. That's right, I put it away. I just couldn't recall it at the moment. Everyone suddenly realized, saying, I knew it. Mrs. Vance is dressed in designer brands and can freely enter and exit Marcus Mansion. How could she be fake? Seeing that the crowd's suspicions had vanished, she started mocking Grace again. Lower class will always be lower class. With that air of poverty about you, how dare you pretend to be a wealthy madam? Are you even worthy? Grace truly admired her audacity, remaining so calm even at a moment like this. Grace pointed to the hand-drawn family portrait on the wall and retorted, can you explain why your Leo is clearly a boy, but there's a girl in this hand-drawn family portrait? Her expression visibly panicked. After a long pause, she explained, that's because Marcus and I always wanted a daughter, but then we had a son. After that, she became enraged and humiliated again. But you've slandered me repeatedly. What exactly are your malicious intentions? The others also chimed in, exactly. I think she's just expressing sour grapes. You can't indulge people like that. Mrs. Vance, don't waste words on her. Just call the police and have this bad woman, who's impersonating you, arrested. Grace impersonating herself, there was probably nothing more ridiculous than that. As watched everyone bickering, she kicked the doorframe. Enough with the arguing. If you want to know who the real one among us is, just look at the photo by the bed. Hearing that, her face immediately changed. The others exchanged glances, then walked towards the bed. The truth was about to be revealed. Grace just wanted to see how she'd handle this. She was so confident just now, I thought there'd actually be a twist. Turns out a clown is just a clown, unable to command respect. She probably got too deep into her role, and even fooled herself. Grace ignored their sarcasm and stepped forward to pick up the picture frame. In the photo, she was nestled in Marcus' arms, smiling blissfully, looking like the most perfectly matched couple. How could this be? She stood with her arms crossed, looking at Grace triumphantly. Now, what do you have to say for yourself? Grace laughed, enraged. You are quite clever, even preparing photos. At first, Grace thought she had used some trick to get in, but now that she thought about it, it didn't seem that simple. She even replaced the photo, clearly she hadn't just arrived today. Ridiculous. I think you are crazy with ambition to be the CEO's wife. The evidence is right in front of you, yet you refuse to give up. Ask everyone here who they believe. She deliberately raised her voice, as if issuing a challenge. And didn't indulge her. Since you claim to be Mrs. Vance, why don't you call Marcus back and let him personally clarify who his wife truly is? If she really had something to do with Marcus, then this husband could be replaced. Grace would never pick a man out of the trash. Grace dialed Marcus' number, but the phone rang for a long time. With no answer, laughter erupted all around. I've truly seen what it means to humiliate oneself. This is just too embarrassing, isn't it? Even now, she's still lost in her fantasy of being Mrs. Vance. I think there might be something wrong with her brain. Her daughter's last name is Gu. How dare she try to frame Mr. Vance? Hearing that, Leo's mom covered her mouth and chuckled. Looks like you can't reach him. Let me try then. With that, she took out her phone, dialed a number, and put it on speakerphone. The phone rang twice before connecting, and Marcus' familiar voice came through. Wife, is everything all right? Nothing much. Just a single mother from the preschool impersonating me, claiming she's your wife. Ha, I've only ever married one wife in my life, you. It's not just anyone who can try to frame me. Wife, if it's too much, just call the police. Something was wrong. Although the voice sounded very much like Marcus, these weren't words Marcus would say. Let me see. Is that really Marcus' phone number? Grace tried to take her phone to check the number, but she quickly pulled it away. The others stepped forward again to support her. I say, haven't you had enough? The evidence is conclusive now. You are the fake. How much nerve do you have? Even at this point, you won't give up. If I were you, I'd find a hole to crawl into. Take your Luna and get lost. Don't be an eyesore here. Amidst the shoving, Luna was pushed to the ground. Her eyes red from crying, she said, Mommy, why are they bullying us? Luna isn't lying. Grace picked Luna up and softly comforted her. Luna did nothing wrong. The ones who are wrong are these willfully blind people. Grace's words clearly provoked them further, and the group cursed loudly like rabid dogs. Grace was silent for a moment, then took out her phone and dialed 3 digits. Leo's mom's face changed. She reached out and slapped Grace's phone away. I get it now. You are deliberately here to cause trouble today. You know my husband's company is about to go public, so you specifically chose this time to stir up public opinion. Who sent you, and why are you trying to harm Marcus? Leo's mom loudly chastised Grace. The people around her pointed and whispered even more. I wondered why someone would impersonate Mrs. Vance. Turns out, she had malicious intent. You're a mother yourself. How can you do such a shameless thing? Aren't you afraid of setting a bad example for young children? Everyone was pointing fingers at Grace, and even Ms. Evans, their class teacher, stepped out to scold her. Luna's mom, regardless of your motives, I want to tell you that this behavior is wrong. Parents are a child's best teachers. Little is so young, and what you are doing will have a bad influence on her. I advise you to apologize to Leo's mom immediately, and let this matter go. Hearing that, Grace couldn't hold back any longer. Ms. Evans, isn't it? Before, I always thought you were a responsible teacher, because Luna had praised you to me more than once. At that, a hint of pride was clearly visible on Ms. Evans' face. However, Grace changed her tone. If it weren't for the injuries found on Luna during her hospital examination this time, I would have truly believed you were a good teacher, but your actions clearly aimed to cover up the truth of Leo bullying Luna. You were worse than those overtly bad teachers. It's because of your complacency and concealment that Luna ended up in the hospital. Lines make sure you pay for this. Ms. Evans' face suddenly changed. What are you talking about? Covering up bullying? I don't know what you mean. I've already obtained a medical certificate for Luna's injuries, and I've copied all the surveillance videos of her time at school. The law will provide a fair judgment on whether you deliberately concealed wrongdoing. Ms. Evans, just wait for your subpoena. Ms. Evans' legs turned to jelly, and she almost collapsed to the ground. Leo's mom calmly said, Ms. Evans, don't let her trick you. Children playing roughly is normal. Besides, even if she really does take it to court, there's no need to be afraid. Don't forget, Marcus is my husband. If she wants a lawsuit, I'll see it through to the end. With her support, Ms. Evans clearly gained a lot more confidence. Luna's mom, I hope you'll face reality. An ordinary person like you can't possibly contend with Mr. and Mrs. Vance. I was trying to help you before, I hope you won't be ungrateful. Grace scoffed in amusement. So you admit to concealing Leo's wrongdoing, do you? Ms. Evans said nothing, effectively admitting the truth. You heard all that, didn't you? If you don't come back now, don't bother coming back at all. Hearing suddenly say such a thing, Leo's mom's face changed. Who are you talking to? Grace pointed to the Bluetooth earpiece in her ear. The you keep talking about, he just called me back. He should be on his way now. When was pushed down just now? Marcus' call came in. Grace answered it when no one was looking. He apologized over the phone, saying he'd just landed, and immediately called her back. Grace was still fuming inside. After all, this Leo's mom, who came out of nowhere, had dozens of intimate photos with him. Whether they were real or fake, Grace was genuinely angry. Grace ignored him for a moment, letting him hear her conversation with the others. On the other end of the line, Marcus was gritting his teeth in fury. Who the hell has the guts to bully my wife and daughter? Marcus was a doting father. Normally, if Luna even frowned, he'd worry for ages. Now, hearing that Luna was being bullied at preschool, he couldn't wait a second longer. I'm coming back right now, wife. Wait for me. Leo's mom, who had been so calm just moments ago, was now somewhat flustered. You are lying. I just spoke to Marcus, he couldn't have called you. Grace nodded in agreement. Right, I'm just putting on a show. So, do you dare to bet with me? She hesitated. Grace deliberately used reverse psychology. What's wrong? You are not scared, are you? Or is it that you are the fake one? Leo's mom remained silent. Meanwhile, other parents seized the opportunity to declare their loyalty. Don't tell me you are going to claim you are Mrs. Vance again. Take a good look in the mirror, you don't look anything like a wealthy madam. Exactly. A washed-up hag, looking all shabby, how dare she impersonate a wealthy madam? Mrs. Vance, rest assured, we won't believe her. Grace glanced down at herself. Luna had suddenly fallen ill, and she had left in such a hurry that she didn't bother to dress up, just grabbing 2 comfortable house clothes before rushing to the hospital. She never thought this would become their sole criterion for identifying her. With their support, Leo's mom regained some confidence. She was convinced Grace was a fake, so she didn't panic at all. Since you are so determined to dig your own grave, then I'll grant your wish. I'll call Marcus back right now, and have him personally humiliate you. She made a call, sweetly pleading with the man to come back. If hadn't been on the phone with Marcus herself, she would have suspected she really was Marcus' mistress. Perfect. Grace also wanted to see who was audacious enough to impersonate Marcus. A short while later, Marcus walked in from outside. Gasps erupted from the crowd. In my lifetime, I actually get to see Mr. Vance in person. Mrs. Vance, please put in a good word for me with Mr. Vance. Mr. Vance is so handsome. Mrs. Vance is truly lucky. Leo's mom, looking smug, immediately walked forward and looped her arm through Marcus' arm, whining, honey, you are finally back. This awful woman almost bullied me to death. The others also chimed in, one after another, defending her. I'd like to see who dares to bully my wife. Everyone's gaze turned to Grace. She felt no fear and walked up to him. It's me. What about it? The Marcus in front of Grace acted as if he didn't know her. He blustered, how dare you ask, what about it? How many lives do you have to bully Marcus' wife? Today, you'd better kneel and sincerely apologize to my wife, and I might spare your life. Otherwise, Grace almost burst out laughing. Otherwise what? Are you going to kill me? Even if I don't kill you, I can make sure you can't survive in this city. Try me if you don't believe me. Marcus loosened his tie. Clearly, the heavy suit was getting to him. Something was off. Grace just couldn't quite put her finger on it. But she couldn't quite put her finger on it. Grace only knew that the man in front of her was definitely not Marcus, but how could there be someone so similar in the world? Seems silence, he said smugly. What's wrong, scared now? If you are scared, then hurry up and kneel to apologize to my wife. I might begrudgingly let you off the hook. Before he could finish, another voice cut him off. Everyone turned around, their mouths agape in shock. What's going on? Why are there 2 Mr. Vances here? Mr. Vance is an only child. I've never heard of him having any siblings. But honestly, this Mr. Vance seems to have a much stronger presence. The one from just now can't even compare. The moment Grace looked up, Marcus and she locked eyes. His eyes were filled with tenderness. In an instant, Grace recognized that this man was her true husband. The next second, Luna let go of my hand and ran towards Marcus. Dad. Don't just call anyone, Dad. I only have one son. Brian was still trying to act calm, but Luna completely ignored him, walking straight to the real Marcus. He opened his arms and swept Luna into an embrace. Seeing her rock, Luna tearfully complained to her dad, Dad, they are bad people, they bullied Mom and me. Leo's mom, who had been so confident moments ago, was now as anxious as a cat on a hot tin roof. She was the first to speak. Who are you, daring to impersonate my husband? Don't think that just because you got plastic surgery to look like him, you can fool everyone. I'm telling you, I can sue you. As her voice faded, she heard people around them murmuring. So he got plastic surgery, no wonder he looks so similar. I really don't know what she was thinking, finding a fake to impersonate him. Even with a similar face, a fake is still a fake. Mrs. Vance, I'm definitely on your side. Don't forget about me if anything good comes up later. Seeing everyone siding with her, her confidence surged again. Even her Brian jumped out to expose the truth. That's right. You've got some nerve, daring to impersonate Marcus. Marcus let out a soft chuckle, but the coldness in his eyes could no longer be hidden. He didn't even bother to glance at Brian, simply instructing his assistant behind him, go see who he really is. Hey, what are you doing? Don't touch me. David immediately pinned Brian to the ground, rendering him immobile, then swiftly removed his wig and threw it on the floor. At this moment, Brian finally revealed his true appearance. The crowd gasped in surprise. Oh my God, so he really was a fake. Then is Leo's mom also? No way, she has over 1 million followers on Instagram. How could she be fake? Seeing the truth revealed, Leo's mom no longer had her arrogant demeanor. She immediately tried to appease me, Mrs. Vance, I was foolish for a moment. Please, be the bigger person and forgive me this one time. I grabbed her chin, looking at her submissive posture, and slapped her without hesitation. Forgive. I gave you many chances, but you never valued a single one. Not to mention, your son bullied Luna, and I will see this through to the end. Hearing this, her face immediately turned pale. Mrs. Vance, I really was foolish for a moment, blinded by greed. Please, I beg you, let me go. My son is still so young, he can't have a mother with a criminal record. She dropped to her knees in front of me with a thud. At this moment, her tears might have held some sincerity, but her deceptive actions could not be forgiven. Before I could speak, I heard Marcus say, for anyone who bullied my wife and child today, Vance's legal department will pursue them relentlessly. I, Marcus, have nothing but money, and no one who messes with my family will get off easy. And Evans, is that right? As a teacher, you aided and abetted wrongdoing by concealing and covering up Leo's bullying of Luna. I will make you pay 10 times over for this. Now, it wasn't just Leo's mom, everyone present panicked. Mr. Vance, we were misled by others and misunderstood your wife. We didn't mean it. That's right, Mr. Vance, please be the bigger person and let us off. But this time, they picked the wrong fight. However, I still didn't understand how Leo's mom managed to open our front door, and even replace the family photos in the room. When I asked her, she stammered, unwilling to speak. Marcus' single question, do you want to increase your sentence, scared her into spilling everything. A few years ago, she seduced a wealthy heir, hoping to have a child and gaining status through one's child. But the wealthy heir completely ignored her, and left the country. She became a single mother, but having grown accustomed to a lavish lifestyle, the settlement money the wealthy heir gave her was quickly spent. To continue living as a rich woman, she started pretending to be wealthy online. Conveniently, her biological mother worked as a housekeeper in our mansion. Since I had never been in the public eye, she got the idea to impersonate Vance's CEO's wife, creating a sweet young wife persona, gaining millions of followers and earning a lot of money. To make it more convincing, she often secretly had her housekeeper mother take photos. This time, because Luna was bullied by Leo, she had a high fever in the middle of the night. I was at the hospital with Luna and had told Martha, our housekeeper, that I'd be back later. Unexpectedly, she saw it as an opportunity to take her influencer career to the next level. So, she chose to go live today, solidifying her identity as Mrs. Vance to continue gaining followers and making money. As a supposedly wealthy wife, she naturally couldn't hold her own phone, so this good deed fell to Ms. Evans. I unexpectedly returned, catching her completely off guard. The live stream had already been manually shut down the moment she admitted she was a fake. Mr. Vance, Mrs. Vance, I've told you everything, I really have. Can you please not sue me? I don't want to go to prison. She wept uncontrollably, and I believed her tears were genuine in that moment. But I would absolutely not forgive her, including her housekeeper mother who aided and abetted wrongdoing. I called the police. She and her Brian were both prosecuted. By impersonating US and profiting millions online, they had committed fraud, a grand larceny offense, and would spend most of their lives in prison. Ms. Evans, who had repeatedly accepted bribes, was also prosecuted. As for the other parents, it was true they were misled, but their actions were truly irritating. I didn't accept their apologies, but I didn't intend to pursue the matter further either. I just decided I wouldn't let Luna continue at this preschool. Not only did Leo cause her physical and emotional harm that would take time to heal, but the parents there were all about snobbery, and even the teachers were all cut from the same cloth. I couldn't feel comfortable leaving Luna in such a preschool. I just didn't expect there would be another twist to the story. It started when someone on the internet took things out of context, claiming Marcus and I used our power to bully ordinary people. It quickly caused an uproar online. Vance's stock plummeted, and Marcus and I were caught in a public opinion storm. I was worried. Marcus, however, comforted me. Don't worry. Even if the sky falls, your husband will hold it up. A few days later, Marcus held a press conference, detailing the full story of the incident. At the end, he said, "I won't let anyone who bullies my wife and child get away with it." This sentence instantly went viral, but in a mocking way. Seriously. It's 2024, and people are still spouting cheesy CEO lines. Life isn't an idle drama. Alpha male CEOs can't just do whatever they want. Boycott group, demand they apologize to the victims. I originally thought it would be difficult to suppress this matter, but 3 days later, a police announcement completely clarified the situation. It turned out that the person manipulating public opinion online was Martha, the housekeeper we had fired. She harbored resentment because we prosecuted her daughter, so she intended to use this method to retaliate against us. Her act of fabricating facts and slandering us had already violated criminal law. The last sentence of the police announcement read, "The internet is not beyond the law. Social media influencing should strictly adhere to laws and regulations. There should be no bottomless pursuit of gaining clicks or staging a hoax. Please consciously regulate your online conduct. Do not spread rumors, do not fabricate stories, and do not believe unsubstantiated claims." 2 months later, the case finally concluded. Tiffany was convicted of fraud, a grand larceny offense, and sentenced to 15 years in prison. Her, as an accomplice, was sentenced to 8 years in prison. Martha, the housekeeper, was convicted of defamation and sentenced to 1 year and 3 months in prison. As for Ms. Evans, the preschool teacher, she was sentenced to 3 years in prison with concurrent sentences for accepting bribes and concealing criminal acts. After this incident, I no longer blindly chose exclusive private schools. Instead, I chose a public preschool. When the new school year began, Luna happily shared fun stories from school with me. She had made many good friends, and her preschool teachers were very kind to her. The parents' group chat was free of flaunting wealth and social climbing, no longer a toxic atmosphere. Relationships between parents were very harmonious. On the rare occasion children had conflicts, they would resolve them according to the accountability and apology principle, instilling proper values in the children. Luna's life was just beginning, and I hoped she would see the truest side of the world. And I would be there for every moment of her growth, never absent. If you've experienced similar betrayal or family conflicts, what would you do? Choose to leave or forgive. Share your story in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more real-life dramas.